Priyanka Wilson and welcome to GSS course series of decoding the UPSC syllabus with macro detailing topics. This is the third part of the polity syllabus decoding. In this video, Ram Pratap Singh sir will be covering the macro detailing of parliament and state legislatures. So guys, stay tuned for the next videos in this series, and if you like this video, so please like, share and subscribe to our channel and press the bell icon for regular updates. Thank you.
Welcome to GSS course. Myself RP Singh for your polity, and the effort is for, you can see, syllabus explained. So a new student always faces this problem in how to understand the syllabus, because UPSC generally doesn't go for the micro detailing, and so we are trying to make your task a bit easier to understand the essence of the particular section or the topic. So this is the third video, as you know, and let's go for the polity section. Two videos have already done with certain topics. In third video, the topic is the parliament and the state legislature, and so it is the structure. So structure is the bodies, that's what we call the structure. So who are they? What you need to do in this topic? It is very simple. The president, Rajya Sabha, Lok Sabha, headed by vice president called chairman of the house, and he is headed by speaker of the house. Both of them have deputy chairman and he has deputy speaker. This is what structure means. Not only this, Rajya Sabha, total members, how many? Same for the Lok Sabha. And then how elected? What is the election criteria? Lok Sabha is the direct election, therefore it is called general election in India. So the point is to understand what all the things we need to do in this particular topic. And when you go for president, then definitely you have to read how president is elected, how president is impeached, as long as he is president, what powers and privileges he has, what are certain grounds of controversies in the constitution, naturally. So MPs who are elected, then what is the privilege of member of parliament, and whether these privileges means a VIP status given to our members of parliament in terms of privileges, how far it is justified, how far it is necessary. These kinds of a very balanced and a constitutional debate which we need to have here in this particular thing, right? So in this slide, we have not given questions, we have given questions only at the end. See the two slides. So since the entire video is only about the parliament, so let's understand the topic first, and then we understand the number, and you can see the amount of questions from this topic. See 1 2 3 4 5, and then 1 2 3 4 5. So we have 10 questions, and the list is not exhaustive. So you can say that this particular video, whatever topic it contains, has a huge traction in the mains examination. So let's go to the structure. So this was the structure, and let's go to the second slide, parliament and state legislature. And what is there? What do they do? Function. And how do they do? So this is what do they do, and this is how do they do. How means they organize session, and every session has duration, every session has procedures, and when there is session, there shall be end of session. When there is procedure, there will be breach of procedure. Of course, like one member of parliament abusing the other member, which is called use of the unparliamentary language. So this can be there. So breach, see, it is logically, you can say, developing what can be the micro detailing of the topic. I can answer all of them. But here we are explaining the syllabus. It's not about having a class of polity on a particular topic, right? So session, if it is parliament, then session is in the hand of the President of India. President will call the session, end the session, right? So summoning the session, prorogation of the session, suspension of the session in the hands of the speaker. Then duration of the session decided by the president, how long the session will go. Like monsoon session, the budget session, the winter session, 3 sessions we have of parliament in India, right? Then procedures, then everything has to be done with the decorum, etiquettes and civilization, mannerism. Speaker has the power. Rules of business houses have been made for the both houses separately under Article 188. So all these things we need to understand that how they function. But now this was how they function. Now, what are the functions? Of course, the biggest function of any legislature, be it the state or parliament, is to make law. We all know that. Because law is what is applicable on us. Law is what we are accountable to. It is rule of law as per the Indian Constitution, Article 14. So when we are living in the era of modernity where rule of law is supreme, it is no more rule of God, it is no more rule of man, it is no more rule of magic, it is no more rule of religion, but it is rule of law. So when we are under the jurisdiction, control, influence and accountable to the law, then whoever is the maker of the law is the most important person in the society. Hence, the most important function to be played by the legislature at both center and state will be what? Legislative function means law making function. Not easy again, because there may be many types of the laws, bylaws, subordinate laws. Law in respect to fundamental rights will be slightly different. Law in respect of something else will be different. So all these things will be there, will be there. So only function I am saying, one function, not so other function, make the executive accountable. So accountability. Then budgetary function, passes the budget, means controls the government financial situation. Then judicial functions, it removes president, Supreme Court, High Court judges. So it is called the impeachment judicial function, right? It receives the foreign dignitaries. They come to address the joint session of the both houses, like Barack Obama came, the US president, and addressed the both houses of the parliament. It is said to be a diplomatic function of the parliament. So the parliament has the huge and most of all, inse bhi bada, parliament is the house where democracy exists. The parliament where the public opinion matters. It is the parliament where the grievances of the people raised by the members to be solved by the government of India, and it is the parliament where the government falls and government is made. Vajpayee government resigned. Many governments fell before completion of the 5 years of tenure, because in Lok Sabha they were not having the simple majority, which is 272. So this is the significant function of the parliament. So now the conduct of the business, I said, shanti se, sabhyata se, rule based. That's how the whole thing is. So when we go into understanding, so parliament chapter from pre-point of view is also the most important chapter. From Article 79 to Article 123, you can say it is parliament or the legislative kind of power. So we need to be very careful in understanding these things, and for sure when you'll come to the class, you'll know what you are supposed to do, right? Okay, so let's go to the next slide. Okay, so next slide is this. What is written here? Yes, parliament and state legislatures, powers and privileges and issues arising out of this. So as I said earlier that the parliament has, I'm not talking about the state legislature, because the state legislature power, structure, function, or what you said, conduct of business, is more or less similar to the parliament. In details, we will go when we will see that in the class. So let's restrict ourselves to the parliament to understand the basic contours of what we need to do when we come to the classes or to understand the syllabus. The powers and privileges and issues arising out of these. So parliament and state legislature. So what is the power of parliament? Is function of parliament to make law? Very simple. My function is, I am the parliament, my function is to make law. Then what is my power? My power is to punish anyone who obstructs in my law making function. That is power. So power of parliament is to punish for its own contempt. Power of parliament is to exclude any person who is member or not member, and according to the wisdom of the chairman / speaker of the house, presiding officer of the house, is not suitable for the conduct of business in the house. You know, the speaker can call for bodyguards, called officially marshals, and throw a member of parliament out if he thinks that the member who is creating obstruction is totally undesirable. So this is the power. The power of the parliament is to, you can say, create in camera session, secret session if it is necessary. And it is the power of the Lok Sabha to fell the government. If the government has no majority in the Lok Sabha, the Lok Sabha has power to throw out the government. So the parliament has definitely many kinds of power, but understand, power is what is given to it in the constitution, or power which derives from its basic function of the making law. सारे power नहीं लिखे होंगे, like contempt of parliament कहीं नहीं लिखा है. But since law making power is itself a very, you can say, pristine business of the parliament, exclusive business of the parliament, hence it has the inherent power of contempt when somebody deliberately does something against the, you can say, honor, respect and dignity of the parliament. Be it member or not member, doesn't matter. So this is how the thing. Now the privileges. The privilege can be both. Privilege of the member, privilege of the house. The privilege of the house, that's why we have breach of privilege motion. What is breach of privilege? So breach of privilege means, and so what you know, privileges, breach of privilege. There is no list of privileges in India. There is no list or law or parliamentary rule over privileges of the members of the parliament in India. And interestingly, there is no such list also in Britain. So how do you know what is privilege? That's why Indian constitution or the political system is very clear that the privileges of members or the parliament of India is very same what the privilege available to the members of the parliament in Britain. And what are the privileges? Privileges that the lawmakers, means the parliamentarians are lawmakers, so they should be fully in peace with the process of making law. Means if some MP is going to make law and decide whether to vote in the favor of the bill or not, then they should not be having thinking about the rasoi gas ka cylinder at their home or some unpaid bijli bill or something like that. So the privileges includes free accommodation, free library, free thing. That's a kind of privilege. Then the privilege includes that they cannot be arrested in civil cases, 60 days before and after the session is there. And even in criminal case, if you want to be arrested, then they cannot be arrested within the premises of the parliament. And if he is arrested outside the parliament in a criminal case, then SPDM of the concerned district has to inform the speaker of the Lok Sabha or the chairman of the Rajya Sabha. See, these are the privileges kind of. What is privileges? Privileges is something which you have more than what is available to ordinary citizen of India. That's privilege. Privilege means something which you have, I don't have, is privilege. Technically, privileges are supposed to be the violation of the constitution. Why? Because equality before law ka violation hai. Why the parliamentarians who are also citizen of India, we will have more rights than us? But then privileges are justified acceptable because such privileges are supposed to be ethically sound, as they are necessary for helping the parliamentarians in conducting their basic business, basic function, that is the legislative function. So a parliamentarian should not be having any fear or favor in his mind while voting on any bill, because if the parliamentarian is under stress or fear favor, then the law may come out as a very bad law. And if the bad law is implemented on the country, 140 crore people will suffer and damage will be untold. Untold. And if you think that members of parliament are treated VIP for the wrong reason, then I'll say one statement of Machiavelli. Machiavelli said long back, he said, if the king is corrupt, it is acceptable, but if the people are corrupt, it is unacceptable, because king is one and people are many, and one person's corruption can be tolerated, but not all the person's corruption. So creating VIPs among few people, few hundred people, 543 in Lok Sabha, 245 in Rajya Sabha, is more or less acceptable, because these guys are supposed to be making law or doing many other functions together, and that's what makes our democracy truly functional and true democracy. So this is what is the meaning of issues arising out of it. There are many debates which are going on, and at the last we have a few questions with us, and I will read the question. Question number 1 is, explain the constitutional provision under which the legislative council are established. So it is the constitutional provisions under which the legislative councils are established. Review the working and current status of legislative councils. Legislative council is the second chamber in state. It's called a legislative council. Article 169, if you want to be precisely कि इसमें क्या पढ़ना है. So when you'll go reading state legislature, you will automatically find that in any class, few articles are taught to you by default as the most important. And interesting thing is, UPSC is asking you questions directly from some area which is supposed to be anyway the most important. So easy question, I'll say. Individual parliamentarian's role as the national lawmaker is on a decline. So it means that MP's role, one MP individual as a national lawmaker, is in decline. Statement ये बोल रहा है. I'm not saying you also say the same. You can counter this statement. I'm explaining this statement because and you need to know exactly what is the real meaning of the statement, only then you will come across, which in turn has adversely impacted the quality of debates and their outcomes. So why individual member decline कर रहा है? क्यों? क्योंकि political parties are dominating, and there is a very little scope in parliament these days to not to believe what your party is saying, because of many reasons. The biggest is anti-defection law, 10th schedule. Many other reasons you can cite as well: intellectual decline of member of parliament, or ideological polarization within parliamentary debates, and disruptions, many other causes. But then the main reason is what you say, role of political parties that is increasing day by day, and role of individual member of parliament is declining. Question number 3. Question number 3 is about, why do you think the committee has considered to be useful? So it's parliamentary committee, and estimates committee is there. So they are asking for estimates committee and tell the general importance of the parliamentary committee system. You will that committees are very important. These questions are, I will say, cliche questions. They come so regularly that almost everybody knows, right? So committees are important because they are, you can say, workhorse of parliament. They work behind the scene without any broadcast, without any live telecast, without any media public glare, and therefore the parliamentary committees can work more sanely, patiently, and without any as such party politics. So there are chances that the parliamentary committees will give recommendations on any matter given to it. I'll give one example that we are having data protection bill 2019-2021, you can say right now. So data protection bill is pending in the parliamentary committee, and parliamentary committees has given few reports, not the final report, and they are not happy with the way data protection bill has been constructed by the central government. So in this way, the committee system is very important. It plays multiple functions. That's what the question is, right? Okay, let's go to the next question. In the light of recent controversy regarding the EVM, what is the recent controversy in this question? That some political parties, controversy for EVM, some political parties said that EVMs are hacked, they are rigged. And so they demanded, whenever BJP won in 2014, 2019 and many other state elections, that EVM is hacked, let's go back to the ballot paper. Finally, Election Commission and Supreme Court said very clearly, it is not possible to go back to the ballot paper because anyway we don't have any proof, or nobody has proved that EVMs can be hacked in the given situation, because there are so many levels of checks and balances before an EVM is installed in a booth that it is virtually not possible to manipulate the outcome of EVM system, right? So Election Commission of India has to do certain more things. First is to deny, second is to prove, third is to make the system more updated, and this is what the question is. So again, this is based on the current news which became very prominent after 2019 and 2014 general elections. Last question here we have in this slide, that is simultaneous election to the Lok Sabha and state assemblies will limit the amount of time and money spent in electioneering, but it will reduce the government's accountability to the people's discuss. Okay. Debate, because Prime Minister Modi has said very many times that it is good that India starts having the same time election of both Vidhan Sabha and Lok Sabha. It will save time, money, energy, promote business, many things. Many people are opposing because let's not go into the practical dimension, only one dimension. If you want that Lok Sabha and Vidhan Sabha elections of all these states are held simultaneously, we must amend the constitution first. So without the amendment of the constitution in the 368, it is not possible to do this. So national debate is going on, and not very serious takers are available because of this, because asking for a same time election of the 28 states Vidhan Sabha, when there is so much diversity, stability, instability of the local government in the states, it will again create whole lot of logistical issues. So I'll say that there is no gainsaying in putting that there are no backers of one nation, one state election as such, except that we are having a national debate on the issue. Should you support it? Let's come to the class and don't know the answer. Look. Now, next slide and the last slide perhaps. Yes, it was last slide. So, the question number 1 here is, to enhance the quality of democracy in India, the Election Commission of India has proposed electoral reforms. See, 2016. So there are so many electoral reforms, not one, and it is the examination 2016. So they are asking 2016, right? 2021 reforms are always there, because then election commission this year is linking your voter ID card with Aadhaar. So again, the question can be repeated simply by changing the year 2016 to 2022. What are the suggested reforms? Again, the same thing you can get. Next question. Indian Constitution has provisions for holding joint session, Article 108. One fact I know. Two houses of the parliament. Enumerate the occasions when this would normally happen. So I can tell Article 108 ka detailing that when there is a deadlock between two houses of the parliament, then the president, if he thinks fit, he may call for the joint session. That's how the whole thing, and you have to mention all the three possible conditions when deadlock arises. Happen, and also the occasions when it cannot. It cannot. So you cannot call for joint session on amendment issues, on impeachment issues, on money bill. There are many instances, even when the Rajya Sabha is not agreeing with the Lok Sabha, you cannot. So joint session is possible only and only in the ordinary bill, not in the special bill, amendment bill, same, and impeachment or money bill. So this is what the whole answer for this in a very refined manner. Next question. The Indian party system is passing through a phase of transition. You know, what is the transition? ये सिस्टम को देखने वाली बात है. It is about Mr. Modi coming to power. What is the transition? Fragmentation is over. One single party winning election absolutely on its own since last two general elections in India is a miracle after Congress did last time in 1984. So after 1984, it is the first time that a single party has won the mark 272 members in the Lok Sabha continuously 2 times. So on this basis, they are saying, is the party system in India changing? And once again, like Congress dominated 50s and 60s, will BJP dominate for the 2010s and 2020s and maybe further? So what the commonalities and what differences you see in this mode, if it can be done, right? So this was the question. Next question is the power, privileges and immunities of the Parliament of 105. Anyway, we have seen in the topic itself. So the question is there. See the last line of this question itself, fourth one. Assess the reasons for absence of legal codification of parliamentary privilege. Means why don't you make a law? Why don't you define privilege? Simply because privileges can never be defined. Privileges emerge from a particular event and situation. So until the situation emerges, privileges cannot be prefixed. And so not all kinds of privileges can be fixed. And by making the list of privileges, whatever we can imagine, will prevent any evolution in the list of the privileges, which may not be a very good idea. And it will be the contradiction with the concept of what you say privileges itself, because privileges will come and every time you function, right? So with this, it is very clear. And go to the last question. The role of individual MPs has diminished over the years, and as a result, healthy constructive debate on policy issues are not usually witnessed, right? So again, same, the question which was there, that role of individual parliamentarians is declining and anti-defection law. The debate is very clear that, see, if we allow too much the individual MPs to do whatever they want to do, then they may take money and switch the side and make the government unstable, totally unethical. If we don't allow them to speak too much or go against their own party, then they will say that there is no freedom to parliamentarians. So at the end of the day, what is needed is the balance between freedom of a parliamentarian to speak or do action against his own party, at the same time balancing it with the need of ethics in the house, probity in public life, and stability of the government, right? So horse trading नहीं होने देना है ना. तो इस तरीके से ये सारा सिस्टम को हम इसको समझने की कोशिश करेंगे. So here I will end the third video, which we generally talked about the parliament and its structure. Let's meet in the next session to know something more. Thank you.